For me, this semester, we have learned a complex of situations revolving black movements that have taken precedent in the past few generations that have caused a major impact for blacks as well as in society as a whole. For me, I have taken information that was very important to me that would include stuff from the Jim Crow laws as well as the Jim Crow laws, Malcolm X, as well as the Martin Luther King, and then I would also include the stuff we learned about Louisiana and state that how it all showed me about different situations that occurred, as well as even the movements that happened within the school systems. Seeing how for a while blacks were never allowed to get an education and they were allowed to, and they had to fight tooth and nail for it, was very astonishing because it showed how deep the hate really was. Knowing that we had to have the U.S. Marshals come in to implement it to make sure these children were able to go to and from school was crazy. Then when you see situations like in Louisiana where you had the mafia, well, not the mafia, my apologies, the Klan run out all the blacks and set them on fire and were legally allowed to do this, and we're having all kinds of gatherings where they would get to and from all around and pick on the blacks and kill them and depict them and decapitate them and take souvenirs, showed how much the hatred was. Understanding that it's not that blacks were ever able to create anything, just that whatever they created, it was taken down due to all the hatred. Understanding that even white passing then wasn't fully enough if they knew that you were black. Understanding that the hate was so deep that they would rather you be dead than to think or even take a moment to either fathom black men whistling or looking at their woman when they might not have even been looking. Understanding that we have people like Malcolm X who was fighting for one thing, while we had others like Martin Luther King that was doing one thing, fighting for one thing, and then doing a different thing in the dark. Understanding how the Black Panthers were made to look like they were some terrorist group, when really they were just trying to protect blacks from the terror that they were experiencing from all the communities. When you start to look at it, you see how blacks are constantly created to be the issue, and not only the issue, but painted as the aggressors, when in reality, they're only trying to protest to be treated as equals on some form of standard. Blacks, I believe, understood that they were never going to be treated equally or respected the same, but they wanted to at least to continue to push for higher education, higher respect, higher honor. Understanding that no matter how much they have fought, we are still far behind. Yes, I'm able to go to school with the whites, but unfortunately, no matter what, the uphill battle for me as a young black woman is always going to be different than the battle of a young white woman. That's the reality. Does it make it where their fights don't matter? Absolutely not, because without them, we wouldn't be where we're at. But it also shows that no matter what we do, we're still going to have to continue to fight to be treated as somewhat equal. It's a lot easier to go from -5 than -50 to get to 100. It's easier to get to -5 from 100 than from -50 to 100. And so I believe that day by day, brick by brick, they have been able to make it where we're closer to that -5. We're still never going to be a full 0, but if we can get closer and closer to that mark, I believe that their fight was worth it. When you see that it takes generations of people to be able to create the change, that it doesn't happen overnight, It takes decades. It might take centuries. But as long as we understand that we are that we are not treated as equals, it will make us still have that fight and that hunger in us to want us to be able to be treated a certain way. And that's my conclusion on it.